Hello everyone and welcome to this new episode of Tech Pizza, the podcast, video series, and newsletter where we try to make tech like pizza, easy, fun, and democratic for everybody to understand. I'm back to my studio in Copenhagen after this amazing 2 weeks of holiday in Sicily. I relaxed a lot, had so much fun, and I also gained a little bit of fat because Sicilian cuisine is insane. You guys have no idea, I have an average of 2 cannoli per day. I ate so much food. And now I need to go back to CrossFit and trying to lose a little bit of that fat that I gained. Yeah. Anyway, I'm done with my holiday summary. Now let's get started because there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about this week, as usual. But this week we had Apple's WWDC, the Worldwide Developer Conference. And you may know that I'm an Apple fan. So there's a lot of things I want to tell you. Let's get started. Apple had their Worldwide Developer Conference this week, and now I want to play a little game about it with you. How many industries and companies did Apple potentially make bankrupt in 1.5 hours? Let's get started. Number 1, buy now, pay later services like Affirm or Klarna. Apple introduced Apple Pay Later, which is a system that allows you to buy anything you want online, but paying in 4 different installments instead of paying everything upfront. This service is going to be integrated with any website that already uses Apple Pay. 2, webcam companies like Logitech, for instance. Apple introduced Continuity Camera that allows you to take your iPhone and use that as a webcam for your Mac. Without doing basically anything, it's a seamless integration with no cables and no setup required. They also have a super cool feature that uses the wide-angle camera on your iPhone plus some magic software, I have no idea how to do this, to render a top-down view of your keyboard. And this is really useful if, for instance, you want to show how to do something on a conference call. Amazing. Number 3, password managers. Apple introduced Apple Passkey, which allows you to log in any website simply using your face on Face ID. So instead of writing your email and password, you write your email, get a notification on your iPhone, authenticate with Face ID, and bam, you're in. Number 4, collaboration tools like Miro and Mural. Apple introduced a software called Freeform that is going to be free for every Apple user and is going to be integrated across iPhone, iPad, and Mac. And it's basically the same thing that Miro and Mural do. So a whiteboard where people can post links, draw, write text, post pictures, and collaborate together, which is really useful these days of remote working. And number 5, medicine reminders apps. There's a lot of apps to remind people when to take their medicines. Apple is integrating this feature inside Apple Health. So we are 5 industries and a lot of companies, parts of these industries that are potentially going to go bankrupt because of Apple. But what's interesting to think about is the vision that Apple is building like a metronome. Every 6 months, they ship products and services, they go in that direction. And the direction is to manage our digital life, to have a suite of products and services that make our lives better, easier, and more integrated across everything that we do. I personally really like this, even though I am a little bit sad and afraid for what's going to happen to these other small companies. What do you think? Are you an Apple fan or you're a Apple hater? Let me know in the comments. Apple gave us a sneak peek into the Apple Car. They just announced an expansion to Apple CarPlay that is going to take control over the entire car dashboard. Apple basically designed a user interface that is going to allow you to visualize everything that you need for your car and control your car as well. Seeing, for instance, the speed that your car is going, the RPMs of your engine, control the AC, etc., etc., etc. Apple said that today already 98% of cars use CarPlay and 79% of people consider CarPlay integration before buying a new car. And so that means that this new interface is actually potentially going to be adopted by a lot of companies. And in fact, we already have companies like Ford, Nissan, and Volvo that decided to integrate this experience into their cars. And this is making me think about what's going to be the future for cars. First of all, I think what's really cool is that the user interface really reminds an iPhone or an iWatch. Therefore, if you're an Apple user and you have a car that integrates with this service, it's gonna feel like you have the same experience whatever you're doing if you're texting on a message or driving a car or working on your laptop. But this also means that cars are gonna gradually become basically all the same. It's gonna be just a shell with software inside because cars are gonna have all the same interface, this Apple Car thingy. They all gonna make the same noise, which is no noise, because they're all gonna be electrical. And the performance of the engine doesn't matter that much anymore because they're all gonna be electric cars. Electric cars except for the super fast ones, they all tend to work in the same way. They have no clutch. They're very similar. So the car is becoming a commodity, and Apple is slowly showing what's going to be their strategy to play a key part in it. Tell me what you think. Are you excited about the future of cars, or you think this is going to be more boring? More news about cars. Cruise, the San Francisco self-driving car company, got permission to charge people to use the robot taxi service. They already had a permission to use their self-driving cars to take people around San Francisco in specific areas at specific times, but now they're gonna be able to charge for it. And this is not the first time that this happens. Waymo, the Google self-driving car division, can already do that in Phoenix. It's true that San Francisco is much more complicated than Phoenix. Trust me, I lived in San Francisco. It's a bloody mess. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening in the street. But I think what this says, it's about the future of transportation. Let me explain why I think that taxis are going to be free in the future. When you have competition between people that offer very similar services, the price tends to go down until the margin becomes very, very small, which means that the price of the service becomes very close to the costs. And today with taxi companies or with Uber and Lyft, the minimum cost that they can reach is the cost of people driving, which cannot be zero. Obviously, people need money to pay their bills and buy food. But what's going to happen when you have competition in robot taxis? When the only cost that these companies have is the electricity to power the batteries, and that's it, because everything else is software. Well, the cost of the service is going to go down to the cost that these companies have, which is basically zero. And so probably taxi transportation is going to be free for everybody at some point in the future. Do you think this is going to happen? Let me know. Someone will probably do 40 years of jail time for insider trading on NFTs. Let me tell you the story. So first of all, what is insider trading? It's something that is commonly associated with stocks. It's when people that have insider knowledge of a company use that knowledge to make money out of the stock market. So let's say that you work for Apple and you know that Apple is going to present some really strong revenues next quarter. You're not allowed to trade Apple stock based on that information that you have. And that's because basically that will be cheating, right? So now let's go to this NFT case. The FBI started investigating Nathaniel Chastain, who is an OpenSea employee who had the task of finding which NFTs were going to be featured on the homepage of OpenSea. Now, when an NFT is featured on the homepage, obviously the price goes to the moon. And so what Natalie did was he bought these NFTs, then he featured them on the homepage, and then he sold them for 2 to 5 times more money. Two interesting things about this. One, who found out about this insider trading? It seems like it was a random guy on the internet, because the blockchain is public and that's one of the most amazing features of this technology. And so somebody was able to find all these transactions that this person has done and finding out that yes, there was somebody working for OpenSea that was doing these weird transactions. And so he posted that on Twitter, and that's where the investigation started. The second interesting thing is that the FBI said that they're not gonna stop pursuing this kind of people and trying to find other crimes related to insider trading and NFTs and other things in the world of crypto, which means that governments and regulators are actively trying to regulate this industry, which I think is great for average people that want to just use this technology because it's going to make it safer, it's going to make it easier to use. But it's bad for crypto maximalists, for people that really believe that crypto should be decentralized, it should be free, and should be a little bit like an anarchy, basically. Because that means that traditional institutions are going to always push more and more to set up rules and control what's happening in the industry. Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Do you think that crypto should be more free? Are you in favor of more intervention of police, FBI, and this kind of stuff in the crypto world? Japan is the first country in the world to regulate stablecoins, the cryptocurrencies that have a value that is pegged to the value of one fiat currency. A bill passed on the Japanese Senate on Friday that is going to basically make stablecoins look exactly like money. And so the only way that you have to issue a stablecoin will be basically to be a bank, because you need to be able to guarantee that whenever somebody wants to have money back, you're going to be able to do that. And that's basically a bank. I think this is interesting because we saw what happened a few weeks ago with Terra, the stablecoin that had $40 billion of market cap and went to zero within 2 days. Stablecoins are amazing, but they can be dangerous. And a lot of people lost money in this case. And so governments are gonna have to make moves to try to make this safer for people. Japan is the first country, but everybody else is gonna have to follow suit. And so we are getting into a new phase of crypto where governments are more into it, and slowly my prediction is that stablecoins and a lot of other cryptocurrencies are gonna start to be always more and more similar to just regular money on the internet. Thank you for watching this episode of Tech Pizza. If you like this format, please subscribe to the newsletter on techpizza.live and send it to your friends, all your friends that want to know everything that is happening in tech. They will love this, so send it to them and they'll be grateful. And I will be grateful as well. I'll see you next week. Ciao.